What's up, everybody? Brian with Living Jeeping and Adventuring. We are back working on the 2005 Jeep Liberty rock crawler thing on airbags and tons and all that junk. So, in the last video, I got the transfer case put together with the doubler. All that's put together. And I was able to get the front bumper and everything done. Well, now, I've got to start working on shocks. And possibly, I'm waiting on one more piece for this transfer case to come in. Then I can shove this thing in there and hopefully I can start working on cross members. But I've also got to start working on some brake lines as well. Yeah, so I'm going to focus on the shocks for right now. Let me show you what I got going on and what my idea is. I don't know if it's a good idea or bad idea, but I'm kind of limited on what I can do, space and everything with these airbags. So I think it's going to work. Tell me what you think. Hopefully you can hear me with all this rain. It's kind of storming right now. So basically, what my plan is, I'm going to take this, it's a 2-inch inside diameter clamp, and my plan is to clamp it on the lower link, like that. And so it'll be clamped on there. And I'm going to take 2 tabs, which these are pretty thick. These are 3/8 tabs. And I'm going to weld them here. And that is going to be my shock mount. Now, the reason I'm doing it that way is because I don't really have a whole lot of room under here for shocks anywhere else. And I'm kind of utilizing the existing strut mount area for my shock, so I didn't want to have to redesign that. That should be pretty strong. And I don't have anywhere on the lower side to mount the shock to the axle, so it's going to go on the control arm. Now my blue rock crawler that I had, that's how they were mounted. They weren't mounted with a clamp, but they were mounted to the lower link. So I'm going to try it on this one. And the reason I got the clamps is that way if I need to adjust my axle, all I have to do is just loosen this clamp up and I'll be able to spin the link inside of this clamp. And then, just tighten the clamp back down. So hopefully it works. I'm going to tighten the crap out of these. Put Loctite and everything on so they don't come off. But yeah, that's the plan. So I'm gonna get going on this and see if it's actually going to work. Let's go. I gotta throw my bolts. I gotta throw my clamp bolts on all that. Alright, so whenever I ordered all these tabs, ordered like 24 of these little tabs from Barnes. I thought I had ordered the right size hole, but evidently I didn't. So I've got to spend the time now drilling each and every one of these out to the correct size. So shouldn't take too long. It should only take about an hour or so, but I do definitely have to do it. Roll this back down some. Clamp back up here. That makes it a little easier drilling on it. Have to hold it. Alright, let's start drilling. Alright, so maybe this will explain a little better. That's the clamp, that's going to be on the tube, and that's my link tabs. They're up on top like that. The shock will mount here. In hindsight, I probably should have ordered the little bit smaller, thinner metal, but I do know these won't bend or break. So I got it pretty well centered, so I'm going to get the welder fired up and tack this in place. Make sure, kind of do a test fit, make sure everything's going to work, and then weld it all up and then just do the rest of them. So should be pretty easy from here on out, hopefully. Let's go. Let's get the welders. get the old welder fired up. Clamp that to the handle. Gloves. Welding hood. Stinger. Alright. I'll probably roll that forward a little bit. I'm really liking this Vulcan welder. It took me a while to figure it out just because I'm not a welder by trade. I run a boat. So, but I got it figured out now. Well, it's pretty good. I tried using the aluminum spool gun that it came with, but man, that thing is terrible. I am not any good at that. So I ain't gonna be doing that anymore. I ruined the case and a very expensive part trying to do that. Wasn't good. Alright, so you guys just so you guys can see if this is going to work or not. Pull these out. It's kind of like that icebreaker game. Knock one out and they all just come falling out. I am going to put them all back in there though, just to be sure. Alright, here we go. Look at that, see? It don't fit. I probably should have added one more. Ow! One more washer in there, probably. Fits the top, no problem. It does not, however, fit the bottom. No bueno. Well, I don't really want to redo it, so. See? I failed. That's terrible. Alright. Let me figure this out. We'll be right back. Solutions, not problems. That's what we're doing here. Solutions, not problems. I screwed that up. But that's okay, because these shocks, yeah, these are rough country shocks. You know what? I don't care. I've used this company in the past, and I really like them. So anyway, I just kind of smoothed down the edge right here, and that edge right here, and it, watch this, it's like butter, shabam! Look at that, beautiful. And, best part, watch this, bolt goes in, don't make me a liar, bolt goes all the way in there. Check that out. It's one heck of a shock mount. But you know what? It's cool. Alright, let's get this one welded, let it cool, and do the rest. Alright. Nothing else to do now but to weld. First though, it's time to hydrate a little bit. Ain't nothing like chocolate water. Alright. Let's do this. Let's get this bad boy welded up. I ain't no professional welder, but look at that bead. Not bad. That thing's popping and cracking. Carrying on. Woo, buddy. She's hot. She's hot. One hot mama. Alright guys, check out these shock mounts, man. They are freaking cool. Let's check them out. Look at that. Look at that. Look at them welds. Alright, don't look at the welds too close. Don't look at the welds too close, dang it. Yeah, like that one there. Look at that. Look at that. Not great. Not a great weld. Did get good penetration though. I mean, this thing was nice and hot. I've never seen shocks mounted like this before, so I don't know. Oh, look at that. Just a avalanche of junk. I don't know. What do you think? You think it's going to work? Or do you think I just wasted time and wasted money? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. But in the meantime, I'm going to go for tonight. I'm going to go inside, take a shower, get some food, go to bed, and be back out here first thing in the morning. Hopefully to mount all of these. At least the front ones. I'm going to get the front ones mounted for sure. The back ones probably not. I still have to pull that axle back out. I may do that tomorrow too. Get some welding done on it, get it all painted, get it done, and then just shove it back in there, and then I can put the shocks on. So we'll see. But I'll see you guys in the morning. And it's morning time. Alright, thanks for sticking with me. See you next morning. Back out here. Got my breakfast. I don't really know what these are. Really even that good. But they're alright. And got my coffee. Alright. So now we gotta mount these shocks. But first, I've got to drop this axle down far enough so I can actually be able to bolt them up and not fight the shocks like crazy. So let's get back to work. Probably gonna go finish my breakfast first. Then I'm gonna get to work. Alright, so we got it mounted at the top there. And what I was aiming for is right in between. There's a kind of like an indent here in the frame. I was trying to get the shock lined up in the center of that. That way when this thing flexes down, it is going to move in that way a little bit. And that way it kind of gives it some room. Does look like it might need to go towards the back just a touch. See if I can get it moved back, then I'll get everything clamped down tight. Alright, so I've kind of flexed this thing down just a little bit. It's not down nearly as far as it can go. I think it's got another 4 inches or so that it can drop. But why I was wanting it here on this little indented part of the frame is because before there was about 2 inches of clearance back here. Now there's about a finger's width. So I think as it goes down farther, it's going to get closer. But this should clear here. The shock should clear the bottom of the frame once it droops down farther. So I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to kind of crib it up a little bit more and redo this and see if I can get it to where it'll flex all the way down. Guys, this thing is going to flex a freaking ton. Way more than I thought I was going to be able to get out of it. So I cribbed it up a little bit more. I didn't crib it up high enough. I don't have enough cribbing to do it. I've got my jack stands raised all the way up, and I still cannot get this axle to droop out as far as it needs to droop. So, but check this part out. So it clears everything back here just like I thought it would. And I still have about 4 inches. I measured it with the other shock. Kind of put this other shock up for reference. So these are in about the same location. And see how much farther this one goes down? Where the mounting hole is versus that mounting hole there. So it still has about 4 inches of droop. So I'm pretty stoked about it. Now I'm going to work on getting the other side mounted. Crappy thing is I'm going to get all this together, and all this still has to come apart one last time so I can get the shock mounts and everything painted and all that. I still got to pull my rear axle out, And I start my 10 nights tonight, so I don't really have a whole lot of time out here today. But I've been itching to get these shocks done, man. I'm freaking stoked to do it. So now I'm gonna have to adjust my axle a little bit once I get both shocks on, but that shouldn't be too bad. That's why I got 4 links in the front. Super easy to do. All right, well, I'm gonna get back to work, and I'm gonna show you again this other upper shock mount that I made for the front. I do have to modify it a little bit. I didn't drill the hole big enough, so where's it at? It's right here. It's right here. So that's what it is. This little guy will bolt up into here. It goes right there like so. And that's where the shock mounts to. I was going to try and bring the shock up through the existing hole here, but I figured that'd be too much trouble. I just made these mounts. Plus, it would have been really, really hard to find shocks that stretched out to like 37 inches or something, whatever I needed. This way, I only needed a shock to go to 31 inches extended length. So, that's a win. Alright, enough talking. I'm going to get back to work and show you how I install these other these upper mounts. They're pretty neat. Alright, so how this mounts, it mounts up through the bottom there, up under here, and it's got these 4 existing holes that were for the strut tower. So all this has been reinforced from the factory, so it should still be strong enough to hold the weight of this Jeep and everything up. So I'm not too terribly worried about that being structurally strong. I'm pretty confident that it is. Plus, with this in there, it does kind of rigidify it a little bit. So I'm going to get that bolted in and get this shock on here. It's the next day, and I did manage to get one of the rear shocks in place. Kind of show you there. Got it mounted on the lower link, kind of tacked into place up there. But I think what I may end up having to do is scoot it forward about a ½ an inch on the bottom side here and on the top side, just because I need a way to keep these shock mount collars here from, or the mounts from sliding, up and down on the link. And I think I'm gonna have to put some kind of a collar on the front side and the back side, weld it in place, something to keep these, and keep these still, just in case they do come loose. They're not gonna slide on those links. So I don't really want to move it forward, but I think I'm gonna have to. So now on the front should be fine. There's about 3 inches between the front of the mount here and the front of the link, so I shouldn't have any issues in the front as far as that goes. But I am gonna have issues on the rear of this thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this driver's side up how I need it, and then I'll fix that passenger side. So it shouldn't take too long. Everything's just tacked. I think there's only 2 tacks on that upper mount, so just gotta track them off and tack it back in place. Alright, so it's gonna sit just like so, all the way up against the body. Give it a couple tacks, install this shock, and probably cycle the air ride just a little bit and make sure everything's gonna work. Alright, let's get the wheel fired up and tack that sucker in place. Alright, so these lower mounts, I haven't really found a good way to put them on yet, so I'm going to try a different way this go around. Ugh. See if it works any better. I've been getting some positive feedback on these, so just from, you know, a couple buddies and a couple Instagram posts and stuff, or whatever. Not really on the Instagram, but texting pictures to my buddies and stuff like that. I don't know if they're being nice or if they really think it's gonna work, but positive feedback is positive feedback. That is what we're looking for. So let's get this sucker mounted, shall we? No, put me here. Okay. So the way I've been doing the other ones, I've been mounting, you know, putting the mount on first and then trying to compress the shock to get it into the hole. But that's proven to be very, very difficult. So what I think I'm going to do this time is I think I'm just going to mount the mount. Yeah, I'm going to mount the mount to the shock, and the mount to the shock, and the mount to the link. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Get over there. Come on. Nice snug fit. Little tap tap. My multi-tool hammer here. Alright, now I'm gonna have to pivot that, and still gotta compress it a little bit, but not nearly as much. So let's see if I can adjust these shocks. So these rear shocks are actually for, I think it's like a 2010 Nissan Frontier. They've got the absorption. Is that a word? Is that the word you use? Absorption? I don't think so. I guess like the shock rate that I was looking for, and the length that I needed. Plus they're fairly stout, and I know a lot of people don't use rough country stuff, but I do. I've never had an issue with it. So, and the front ones are actually for a 2000 something Ford F-250. So I know they'll carry the weight and everything of everything that's going on up there. So yeah, anyways, let's compress this bad boy, get it into place, shall we? Oh no, it does not go. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh god, it's not going. Oh, it's not going. Haha, I got it. Woo! That was such a struggle. Alright. Now let's cut this off. Easy enough. Alright, well, I'm going to get this installed and slide that other one over a ½ inch, and then I'll be back to kind of cycle this thing and put some air in the bags and see if it's going to take care of that bouncing issue that I had. Man, this thing used to bounce really bad, so hopefully this takes care of that. I'm not quite, I don't think it's down to full stuff. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong way. Yeah, I don't think it can because of the jacks right here, but let's try a different thing here. Let's try something else. Let's try raising it up. Alright. She's up. Now I'm going to drop these stands. I'm going to go to the other side real quick and drop that one. Both stands are dropped. Now I want to see this thing at full stuff, because ride height is probably about here, I guess, somewhere in this area. I'm not real sure yet. So let's see what it looks like at full stuff. I want to see if there's any shaft showing at all. I hope this thing doesn't fall on me, because that would suck. Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to weld those on a little better, but it's, when it's all the way down, it's basically bottomed out the shock, so not too bad. I think it's gonna work. Whoa boy, easy. This this mount here is about to fall off. I guess I didn't tack it on there very good. So yeah. It's about as high as it's going to sit. But this axle is going to be able to droop out, you know, quite a bit more. I'd say probably another 8 inches. This rear axle is going to be able to go down, so should be pretty good. Good morning. Next day. Seems to be a lot of that going on. But when I'm on nights, I can usually come out here for an hour or two a day. So I usually try and take care of one little thing on one part of a project, and that's how I'm getting this thing done, unfortunately. But anyway, all of the shocks are mounted. Both sides are done. I got everything welded and painted up top. So let's give this another shot. Last time I did this, this side fell out onto the floor. Hopefully this won't happen again. Let's check it out. Oh baby, easy, easy now, easy now. Look at that. That's all the way extended up with the airbags right here. So it won't. This isn't ride height. I'll show you what ride height is. Ride height is going to be more or less about right here. So I've got about 2.5, maybe 3 inches of shock showing. So I'll have about 3 inches of up travel and probably 8 inches of down travel from ride height. So I don't think that's too bad, especially for airbags. Now these are, like I said before in the previous video, these are going to be a floating airbag. They are not fixed on this lower end, and I did that because they are fixed on the top, but I wanted to be able to flex this thing out as much as I possibly could, and plus the airbags are pretty cool. So, but I'm not, this thing is not going to be made at all for high speeds. I'd like to be able to drive it on the road, but that being said, I'm not going to be jumping anything or doing anything crazy on the road. So I think the floating airbags on the front and on the back here, I think they'll be fine. So, but everything cycles the way it should. Jack stands are lowered. Let's drop this thing down as far as it will go. I'm always nervous to do this because I think it's going to fall off the stands. Alright, that is as far down as we can get it. So we are all the way maxed out on the shocks. They will not compress any farther. Airbags are down all the way. And I still have room underneath, not hitting anything. So, alright, so that's it. Quick recap here. Rear shocks and mounts are done. I still got to paint them, but they are done. Everything on the back is really starting to come together. And on the front, this thing is looking freaking tough, man. With the thick steering and new brakes and the bags and the shocks and all that. Man, this thing is looking good. I hope it performs good. I hope. So, well, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Sorry it's short, but sometimes that's the way it is. So anyways, I really hope these shock mounts work. Let me know in the comments if you think they're going to work or if you think they're not going to work. I'd like to hear both sides of it. I have shared it with a couple other off-roading buddies, and they think they're going to work as long as I put like a stopper on the front side and the back side of that clamp so it doesn't move, which I think I'm going to do. I don't know what kind of stopper yet. I don't know if I'm going to get a collar to put on there or if I'm just going to put like a little tack weld every so often or something. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but anyways, thanks for watching this video. Check out the new shirt. It is pretty sweet. If you guys like this shirt, let me know and I will try to make them available, but for right now they're not. But if you are interested in one, hit me up directly and I'll see what I can do for you. I have to go to work, so thank you guys for watching. Appreciate the support on the channel. Go do the membership thing if that's what you're into. They are cheap and it does help me out some. So alright, well, until next time, hopefully I'll see you guys down at the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. If you see me, say hi. If I see you, I'll say hi. I say hi to everybody. I do plan on being at I plan on having this at the Bleepin' Jeep Monkey Crawl Ball. I hope it's finished. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for everything, guys. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.